Actually, you look at points like point A in particular, you look at what you can get away with on point C. You know, point A, it's wide open, there's good verticality, and already you look at what XL2 is running. This is not a standard 3-3. In fact, this is gone over to what was popularized in Korea. This is Sombra Doomfist.
Of course, the Sombra Doomfist goats, huh?
The
Sombra Doomfist goats. No, but it is going to be something we've seen Element Mystic play a lot, which is running the Sombra Doom, because your goal here is to punish tanks, build EMPs. You have those strong anti-nade fights. You have the ability to ult cycle with the EMP, with the Grav. As Revival, they're going to play 3-3 with Eps on the Moira. And when you're running the comp like Revival is, they want to control this high ground, take this fight very fast, maybe run over Gig or KSP. They need to isolate someone.
Juicy Buds around the back end side. So much poke damage set up by the Bionade. Revival, they're able to take down speedily, but I don't think the rest of the fight is going to go very well for them at all. Gig just able to casually walk forward. And Revival, this first attack, completely stuffed on top.
And Gig able to live through that fight despite going so deep, actually going into the hallway, which is generally a sure sign of death. But he able to survive there. They did get one pick, but not enough to win the fight. Haku already has Nano. Gig already has Shatter.
That's a quick EMP build for
Buds has
well.
EMP. I mean, this is a very, very quick. And the risk they run is that if XL2 are able to win this fight without having to use EMP or even only using EMP, then Revival are going to get stuck in the ult cycle because they're running Moira. No Zen, no Ana. How do you survive KSP's grabs?
I mean, the ult washing machine is already going, and Buds just sets a high spin cycle. EMP comes out, 4 immediately hit. And you see XL2 just casually move in off the EMP. Now, they use Nano towards the very end. I don't think they really want to use that, but it's still a one fight.
A one fight, and KSP has grab next fight.
Yeah.
Now, for Revival, they do have some options. I think this is definitely a scenario where you don't have to go through top anymore. The EMP and Shatter and the Nano have all been used. Go from main. You have a Moira. It's much less likely that your Flexible is going to get caught. He's not playing Ana or Zen. Go from main. Have that position where KSP does not have a free grab to catch you in a choke easily. Looks like they are going to be going from this high ground once again, trying to get through. It's all on KSP's grab.
And the Graviton immediately hit, and so is Speedly's punch. You see Moira down directly. Remix firing on back, 5-on-5. But Revival, they're getting forced back to a degree. They see the Meteor Strike coming on in. They don't want to face it head on. And now finally, they are able to secure the high ground, but still down one, and Speedily just threatening from the side. This is really scary for Revival still.
It's scary for Revival, but they're coming up on the bomb. They still have double support ult coming up the grab. They have the ults they need. They just can't get all shattered. You see the hack onto Remix, not able to get into the shatter. And now Apply, he's looking for grab.
For the grab, the shatter from Gig not doing quite as expected from XL2. Beat gonna come out in response. Both teams feeling the beat right now. Speedily finally hopping on in, moving on out. Does not get the pick up he's looking for. Bomb in. Both teams still 6-on-6. Buds really close to building on the EMP up mid-fight. XL2, they just need to stay alive for a little bit longer. Speedily gets a clutch armor pack towards the end. Not even an armor pack, I think he just got grabbed the med pack. Buds holding on the EMP, drops the EMP, hits 5. And Speedily right there for the fall through, and XL2 bought enough time.
XL2 bought enough time, and Revival couldn't clean up their grab. Apply's grab was in a great position, but Remix was slept by Haku. There was no way to swing. They needed Remix to be able to swing on that grab. They were going to clean it up, which was not able to. And this is a problem for Revival. They will have Rally, they will have Shatter, but KSP has another grab, and they have no defensive ults.
This is dangerous for Revival. This is going to be their final opportunity to move in, and oh, Desperation McCree. This is not a pick that usually works in this situation. I would actually say that, you know, for every 20 times I see this, maybe one time it actually works.
This is the right play for Revival to go for main rather than high ground. And McCree was going to get bullied. They can't get caught in a choke. Solo grab onto Remix. They need to keep him alive, keep him up, use their cooldowns. You see the Meteor Strike available. Remix is already down, though.
Went for the Space Jam, ended up getting it. One Reinhardt already down, and Gig just, again, casually moving forward. Revival down 2. And this fight not going their way in the least. Of course, they didn't have any time. They had to force overtime and move on forward, but XL2 just casually holding on to the point right now. Ep's going to fall. Final stall coming in for Revival. There's an EMP for good measure. Really the last thing you'd want to see as a Hammond, and it's going to be stopped right here.
That's going to be the full hold. Still ticks available for Revival, so once again we come back to winnable. Not even drawable, It is winnable for Revival. They could achieve the fuller hold. But when I look at that compositions, they didn't choose objectively the wrong plays to try to take the high ground with that comp. But then the one fight they must win, which was the fight with Apply's Grav, was the fight they could not win because the Remix was slept. They didn't have the damage to follow up. There will still be available for OG. And so even though Revival was able to eventually get the condition they needed, the fight they needed, they just couldn't clean up.
No, not in the least. And for Revival, the upside here is that they got 65.5%, almost 2 ticks, just a little bit shy. So, not throwable, winnable. However, you think about XL2 and how they've been playing here so far, how their usually DPS-powered offenses have been quite good, and how a DPS offense here, generally good on the body first to begin with. You don't have to run the more ground-and-pound style that Revival just did on their attack. I have to say, going into this is a huge advantage towards XL2.
XL2 might be rolling out here on triple DPS because new body first. It is one of those points where you can play triple DPS. You can play it effectively. All you have to do is poke. And for XL2, since they know their win conditions, they know all they have to do is get 66% pretty much. They can take one. They can just play the long game, get the poke damage, and then play for a 6-hole fight, play for an EMP fight.
And that's also where running the Sombra here just makes a lot of sense. I mean, it made sense in the defense, but particularly on the offense where when you are in situations where, hey, all you need is one fight, EMP is the perfect ultimate for that, especially when you have 4 minutes to grab it.
And XL2 actually rolling on a composition we've seen used a lot more lately, which is this Zarya Hammond with the double DPS. Oh, no, they're going back to swap. Okay, I was about to say, surely they're not going to stay on it. I was like, we've seen the comp, but are they going to stay on it? The answer is no. They're going through 3. They see Revival once again playing Remix on this Winston, Eps on the Ana because they were preparing for DPS. But now you see this comp and you're like, let's play 3-3 with the Zen because you can just roll Remix.
They are going to challenge high ground. This is where, for Remix, getting a good 40% support. Ooh, Buds just walks on up, gets a boop off. Remix, luckily still had beat or leap, but no, doesn't have it this time. And Remix is going to be a little bit slow to move in, but still finds Zen. Not as bad as it could have been. They still lose the Ana though, and the trades not too shabby here for XL2. Even the Bionade striking on the back. Revival, if they can't finish it out quickly, XL2's going to get foothold. And Maniton getting isolated to the side. Super low HP. Is Maniton going to get out?
He lives.
Still alive.
Incredible delay there for Maniton. Not only able to get the DMAC, but gets the bubble from Apply, gets healed. Manages to use those evasive maneuvers. Now XL2, they're moving back in from main. They are close to a shatter, and Buds is still out of mech, but Remix is here. He's alive, and there's already a rally available for Mangachu. The sustain is there.
Rally is going to be up. Remix should be able to walk forward and build Primal in the next few seconds here. XL2, meanwhile, Shatter is up. Going to drop the Shatter, and they're looking for Remix. Remix on the ground. Are they going to be able to finish him off in time? No, the Nano coming out. And Remix has Primal. He gets a leap on in. It doesn't even have to use the Primal. So close yet so far for XL2.
But a lot of ults for Revival. Had to use the rally, had to use the grab, had to use Nano. 3 ults gone, and XL2 now, they have their win conditions. They have a win condition fight, a grab. A grab is the most important win condition for XL2 because there's no defensive ult for Revival. They don't have a trance, which is the most effective, and Paintbrush still doesn't even have beat. This is something where they can gauge with rally, set up their grab, all that, and they can even focus Maniton early out of mech. They're in a great spot.
I mean, unfortunately, it's now the situation where Maniton has to get the grav eat. No grav eat here means that the options for Revival to actually win the fight pretty slim. I mean, it's a grav eat or a really good bomb. Either way, all roads to victory begin and end with Maniton. They're getting back out. I think they're giving the grab a bit of respect here.
They're backing out. They've given up the high ground, but now XL2 in position to come pressure the point, set up their own grab. The rally's over. Remix popping the rally. Can he get a disruptor? Can he get anyone off the map? So far, he's not having any success.
Primal's up right now for Remix, moving forward. Bomb out from XL2, does not connect. Still the grab in reserve. Grab going to be used here. Bomb out to Maniton in response. No, does not get what he's looking for. KSP, meanwhile, on the other side, XL2, they've taken down Remix. They're one step closer. 6 on 5. Beat gonna be coming out here for Revival as they desperately try and hang on. XL2, they beat in response. Far more power on the point, but they do lose Rhine. As Revival looking for way back in, Apply with the Graviton, and Revival starting to fight this back.
Revival's fighting this back off the Nano, off the grab. Paintbrush's beat was so crucial to keep Mana, even though he gets demeched, keeps it long enough to where they can get the rally, contest the point, and then Apply solo grabs KSB, the highest damage dealer in that fight. Gets the Nano from Eps. And Revival have brought it back from the brink. They have brought it back from the brink there. They didn't lose anyone really in the grab. They're able to stay alive and come back in for the recontest off that beat from Paintbrush.
And this is going to be final fight territory here for XL2. 35 seconds. Gag with the Shatter. Steps up, drops it, doesn't get anything. Revival, though, they're able to catch Paintbrush. He's off the map.
This is still a tough fight. KSB grabs speedily, rally, Haku, trance. Where are the ultra Revival? Apply, musket, grab. Apply, musket, grab. And even then, they're already down another.
Revival down 2. Remix isolated. 6 on 4. XL2 threatening. They're stuck in grab, but it doesn't matter. The fall through not going to be there anymore. And XL2, they've done exactly what they need to do. Not only going to take them Bonnie, but that's a series to boot, 3-0.
And Revival, despite the name already being put to rest in this series. Bye-bye, Revival.
No reviving out of that one.
No reviving out of that one. Be a quick 3-0 for XL2. And despite the heroics, there was just really, at the end of the day, XL2 had the win condition down. They had the time bank. They knew they only had to take one fight, and their economy was still better. Eps was on Ana the entire time. There was never a Zen. There was never anything. There was a late swap remix onto the Reinhardt, but they just never had what they needed to win the fights. They never had those ult to survive grabs. Even with Apply getting that grab, they didn't have a trance, so they lose in the end. It's all from the swaps, from the ult economy.
Well, the problem is, too, with the type of composition they felt compelled to run out on, where they're not running the Zen to begin with, it's not the sort of composition that's going to win ult economy in the long term. You can put up a very good defense for point A, and look, all things considered, they almost burned 4 minutes off the clock in point A. That is a good defense on the Bonnie, but they need better than a good defense. They need a perfect defense, and that was the problem with what they ran, because, as you say, eventually you run up into a brick wall, and that brick wall is the realities of the ult economy going on in the game.
And the reason they needed perfect defense was because their offense was not good. And it's always better to cap first than to not cap first, because when you're in a situation where you must have a perfect defense, you know who always has the advantage in that? The attackers. The attackers always have the advantage in that because they can out-swap you. Eps was compelled to play Ana, Remix was compelled to play Winston because they're afraid of a DPS comp. So XL2 says, well, we're going to play 3-3 with the Zen, and we have the superior comp now. We have the better ult economy. But XL2, because of that, Revival have already been stuck in their composition. They already have the inherent advantage. Yeah,
I mean, the key to what XL2 is running, not only the fact that they had a very good defense to set up their offense, but it was a guarantee. It was inevitable that they would eventually be put into a situation where the ult economy would be favoring them, and when you only have to win one good fight, that is a very tough position for Revival to find themselves in. And, you know, as we just said, it goes back to misery of their own making. If Revival had had a better offense, they wouldn't have been put into what was essentially a Kobayashi Maru situation.
That is going to be the 3-0 for XL2, taking up their second win so far of this Contender season against Revival, who, ourselves included, predicted them to be a very strong team so far for this season, but maybe having some trouble, some early growth issues, trying to get that synergy. Well, now, we're playing for map score. We're playing for map score now.
Now, bear in mind, we are still benchmarking all the teams that are going on here, thinking, all right, how good are you really this season? There is a world where, even though Revival really hasn't looked clean here so far, that this could be more on XL2 just being really good right now. And look, even, you know, controlling for other factors, XL2 definitely looks better right now in this season they did in the last. And I think for that, not only do you have to give credit to the new pickups on the team, but also you think to their coaching staff. They have Adam, who's a veteran of the scene that's been coaching them up. And, you know, I say this, props to Adam for what we've been seeing here so far from XL2.
So we are going to Rialto, going to be our fourth map, going to be the Escort. And this is where Revival plays for map score. And map score is important.
Yes.
We've seen it be important last season. There's a lot of teams here. Map score, there's also a very real possibility where with all the new additions, with all the new roster shuffles, we'll have more overall parity. And when you're more paritable across your entire season, map score becomes a lot more important.
It's one of those things where it's easy to forget, where as a team you go, oh, okay, we've lost a series. What does it really matter? And then you have so many different instances in Overwatch history, both past and present, of wait. Map score really does matter. I mean, take a look at the playoff race that's developing right now in the Overwatch League for the Stage 3 playoffs, and you're potentially going to have a whole bunch of 5-2 teams where map differential will be the main thing determining who gets a favorable spot, who even gets in at all. But of course, this is still just week 2 in Contenders. A lot still to develop. Let's see what Revival has here on the attack as we move into Rialto.
Revival coming out on the 3-3 with Eps on the Ana. XL2 playing once again this Somber Doom composition with the Reinhardt and the Zarya. I really like the Somber Doom here for the first because they can look for hacks, lane this high ground, Buds can speedily look to engage, get the displacement, move people into even to the canal if he can.
Well, Buds creeping here from the back. Buds, who has been building EMPs up pretty quickly today, all in all. Immediately going back on Eps, and here comes the boop attempt from the side, and OG gonna find 2! I don't even think that was boops. I just think that was raw damage.
Well, both Apply and Eps, well, not Eps, but Apply and Mangachu were both anti. And because Eps was hacked from Buds, there was no sleeps, there was no nade, there was nothing really to help counter that aggression. So in good gauge for XL2 off the EMP or off the hack, off the nade from Haku.
Already Revival down a minute and not a lot to show for it here early on. XL2 on their way to impact walls. Bud's already at 55%. Revival is going to be moving over here to the payload. XL2 giving them a little bit more space this time, not holding quite as far up. But now they're in a spot they can drop down at a moment. Bud's already harassing from the back. And that was a nice build. Already very close to the EMP.
Already close to the EMP. Revival. They need to recognize that Buds is probably getting close to the EMP, maybe even to the Nano for Haku as well, which he is. They're on Moira. You're running this composition. You can't let the fight run long. You're going to get outbuilt by the other ults. You need to take a fight aggressively.
Well, Buds essentially has the EMP right now, going to heal up, and now all he has to do is head behind, do a little bit of shooting, and then just drop on over. So XL2, they're going to wait for the EMP. EMP now built, and now you look towards Buds, set it on up, and this is going to be an easy EMP. Drops it over the top, and Mangachu going to be paying the price immediately. Remix soon to follow. Well executed by XL2, and now you want to talk about the ult washing machine. Well, all they have to use there is EMP, and they're going to have Grav and the rest up very soon.
Because Revival are playing this mortal composition, the only defensive ult they have is Beat. So the ult washing machine is more real than you could even imagine, because even against a team that would be running Xin with a Transcendence, there's no trance. So the grab becomes stronger. XL2 also, they don't even have to worry nearly as much about a counter nade onto Gig. They could just look to EMP Gig, or not, Nano Gig, and have him be aggressive because there's no Xin to burn him. There's no antis, there's no sleeps. There's a lot of options.
And more importantly, Revival, they're taking a lot of time, even to just get to the payload again. Just so much time is being wasted here. They're down to a minute 20, and finally, XL2 says, you've gone close enough. We're going to use the Graviton. See what we get from it, and Gig immediately taking down Mangachu off the Graviton. And for Revival, the longer this goes, the worse it's going to be. They lose the sustain of the Brigida. XL2 still pretty healthy, so speedily doesn't fall. Let's get picked off, but there's a shot from Gig, just to be sure. Knocks down 2. Remix is going to be out of the fight, and Revival, once more, backing off to reset. They get one more attempt.
Going to be getting into last fight territory for Revival. Grav going to be up, Beat going to be up, so they do have resources they need. There's no Shadow, no Nano, no Grav. As they come right now, Manitin pressuring the point. Not a lot to touch him because there's no Xin once again to burn him. KSB also not that high of energy. As Remix is back, and Apply is looking for this grab, but Blood's at EMP.
They have to grab before EMP. EMP gonna head out, and it hits Apply. Gig there for the fall through, gets down Remix. Buds gave up his life. Apply getting awfully low. 23 seconds left. And Revival, the problem is they've lost multiple people here. They don't really have time for a full reset, but they're gonna have to try for it anyways. 15 seconds left. Someone's gonna have to give up their life to just get into overtime.
Well, with 10 seconds, I think Paintbrush is alive. Megachu's also alive, so Paintbrush can beat into the point to get the contests available, but now XL2 will have double support ult. They're going to get a grab of their own potentially, and Apply, he needs to come back, and this is going to be a great grab, but it's going to be tough to get value.
They beat to get to that point, but Remix was totally exposed, taken down immediately. Paintbrush soon to join, 6 on 4 for XL2. Shatter coming in from Gig. Graviton late from Revival, but not enough personnel to back it on up. The payload can be stalled out and stopped right here before the apex of point A, and XL2 just continuing where they left off on the other 3 maps.
And the reason we referred to that fight previously, despite there being another contest right there at the end, as last fight, was because it was effectively last fight. If they lost the fight, they have to come back, they have to stagger into the point, split spawns into the ults of XL2 who are in the better position, and then look for a grab that's probably wasn't going to be very good. And that's exactly what happened. Since Apply was unable to grab before EMP, it became last fight because they had to stagger back in.
I mean, it's one of those situations where it's the last real fight, right? It's equivalent to if you're watching something like American football, right? And you go, well, this is their last drive. If you get the ball back with 5 seconds to go for a Hail Mary, that's not really a drive at that point. That's just praying that something goes well. And that was the Overwatch equivalent of that there, where, you know, essentially you have very little time left. You have to use your ults in an unconventional way just to be able to touch, and people are way out of position. And essentially, you're not only hoping for a miracle play on your side, you're hoping that someone else on the other team messes up terribly. And XL2, they've been playing far too clean for that to happen right now.
So now XL2, they have a clear win condition that is winnable once again for Revival. But seeing how the series has gone so far, if XL2 continue up their level of play, this is looking to be a quick 4-0. And once again, Revival stuck into the corner. They've been back into the corner of, well, we have to have a perfect defense. and XL2 could always just outpick us.
For map score, it is winnable. And Rialto, I mean, it is one of the maps where you can get pretty good first point holds. The problem is that it's not really a true first point hold anymore. They don't have the benefit of the archway, which is actually what enables great first point holds. Instead, they have to hold further up, which means they just have to very significantly outplay XL2. And so far, that has not been what they've been doing.
No, it has not been a case made for that, or a precedent established to where Revival is going to just out mechanic, out skill XL2 just yet. As XL2 coming back out onto this Doom, the Sombra comp. And with one fight, essentially, that needs to be won, the Sombra is the right play in my book, because you have to win one fight, and EMP is a great ult to do it.
Well, the scary thing is it could have been 2 fights, but Revival decided to hold this further back. They didn't hold XL2 close to the spawn, and even though I think that's risky on Rialto, I think that had to be the play here. You don't want to make it one-fight territory.
Now XL2 have taken the high ground. Buds is going to be rotating about, looking for poke damage. And for XL2, if Epps doesn't get this trance very quickly, Buds getting EMP could actually already be the death knell. Could be the end.
Bud's at 53%. He's been building EMP very quickly thus far. Revival hoping for a pickoff. Already getting super low. Epps, the Bionade, just ruining him in the back. Paintbrush going to fall. And already XL2 with the key pickoff. They lose Gig. But this is still fine. Even if they lose this fight, Buds is going to have EMP for the next, and that's the true win condition coming up.
Now Revival have managed to get the rally, have managed to get the Transcendence off those key picks. Epps was hiding in the corner, and XL2 didn't see him after Manton got that counter pick. So Revival managed to hold on, but 2.5 minutes left. That's a lot of fights. And even if they force transfer of Epps with the EMP, KSV's grabs will be coming right after.
Well, I think you EMP in the Nano Doom. The Nano Boost heading on out, and it is the Nano Doom speedily. Looking for that one magic punch, already has one. 6 on 5. Set up by the EMP and speedily. Gonna dive on in, looking for Zara on the other side. Doesn't care about the bubble in the least. And in fact, they don't even stand the payload. XL2 finishing out Rialto in record speed.
4-0 for XL2. Continuing their win streak so far in Contenders. Is a big 2 win streak. And looking very, very clean. Looking very clean, doing so, looking flexible. Revival struggling to deal with these compositions, struggling to counter the Sombra Doom, the triple DPS of XL2. The flexibility of XL2 seems to be extremely high.
XL2 is looking better than they have in a really long time, really since their major org reshuffle way back when last year. So for XL2, this is incredibly promising. For Revival, we know this is a team that can perform very well. We didn't quite see it here today. They have quite a bit to work on between now and their next match, but at the very least, it is a longer season, and all they need to do is do well enough to get to the playoffs. Once they're there, anything can happen.
Anything can happen in playoffs, that's true, and you have to perform very well in playoffs because like we talked about, it's not just about the value of getting to playoffs and performing well in playoffs just for scouting, but to go to the gauntlet. And the gauntlet is where a lot of eyes are going to be on if you want to make it to Overwatch League. If you want to come back, which is what players like Remix and Apply want to do, they want to get to back to the Overwatch League because they already were there. You need to perform in playoffs. You need to go to the showdown. It would be, or the gauntlet. It's something that everyone is looking to get to.
No doubt about it. Well, guys, we still have 3 matches left here as we kick off week 2. That was match number 1 done. It was a little bit quick, but don't worry. Lots of Overwatch still heading at you right after the break.